Hello. We come now to the 20th Sunday of Ordinary Time. We have a vision of the prophet Isaiah that begins and you might say is the introduction to the whole spirit and the message of our Holy Scriptures for us today in our hearts and our lives. The prophet Isaiah, as I said, has a vision, and we have to realize that's a vision. That's what God shows him. It's not exactly what everybody sees. And then what he sees, what the prophet Isaiah sees, is not what everybody else was seeing. The prophet Isaiah saw all these foreigners at the time that were living around the city of Jerusalem, were becoming part of the sacrifices, or part of the worship, part of the ministering to God. Those who were actually there at that time, what they saw was Jews who were permitted to do this, not foreigners. Foreigners were to be excluded from certain parts of the temple. But Isaiah's vision is far more universal. He invites us, because it is God really inviting us, to always look beyond sometimes the very specificity that all of us live with. It's very human. We're all human beings. We like our specific group, our family, our traditions. It's very hard sometimes for us to look beyond our own grouping, our own, you might say, set of understandings of life. And yet again and again, we are reminded, and especially through the gospel today, it's an interesting interchange between Jesus and this Canaanite woman. Don't let the word Canaanite throw you off. Canaanite just simply means a non-Jew, and they were actually the original people that lived in tribes in this area of the world, the Canaanites, that when the children of Israel entered that land had to deal with. But these Canaanites had their own religion and their own gods, and so they were looked upon in a very negative way. So when this woman comes up to Jesus, it's really interesting how she addresses him. She begins with the words, "Have pity on us, Lord, Son of David." Have pity on us, Lord, Son of David. Right there and there's an interesting kind of invocation. To call him Son of David is a very, you might say, a very Jewish approach to Jesus. She also uses the title Lord for him. And have pity on us, Lord, Son of David. It indicated, well, she knew something about Jesus. And she knew that he had power. She knew that he could do something for her. Now, his response seems almost, you might say, cruel when he says, "Oh, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel." And then he goes on to say an expression which in the Middle East still has a sense of way of understanding. You know, he speaks of, well, I can't give the children's food to the dogs. It's interesting. A dog in the Middle East is not the same kind of dog that we think of here in our part of the country, in the United States. Dogs were looked upon as something to be pushed away. They were menaces. They were not any friends to anybody. They were low life. And so when he says this to this woman, it's interesting how she comes back at him in a way that's very respectful, and yet it sort of points out something. She's not going to be stopped, because she says, "Oh yes, but don't even the dogs, if we're dogs, don't even the dogs deserve some of the scraps of the food from the children?" And Jesus is really taken aback and is amazed by her faith that already was already spoken of when she addressed him as Lord, Son of David. But now she is demanding from him the mercy of God that he bring to her family, to her daughter that is possessed by a demon, and that mercy she wants it, and it doesn't matter how she's going to get it. Even the scraps of the table, I want them. And in some ways, Jesus' admiration for her opens something that we should all be thinking about in our own lives. And sometimes we might begrudge or hold back in offering or even believing in others' goodwill or even understanding. The prophet Isaiah stands as a real prophet of vision, and all of us who are Christians today need to expand our horizons and understanding of the universal call of God, that every human heart is calling out, have pity on me, have pity on me. Kyrie eleison, as we say, even to this day in our masses. Kyrie eleison, Lord, have mercy on us, because we are all in need of your mercy and love. And the whole world is really, the true believers in every religion, wherever they are not the ones committing some of these heinous crimes and prejudices against others, but they are trying to share their love, their care, and their concern, because they know God is far greater than any specific religion, than any specific thought. He comes because he loves and has mercy on us all. Have a great day.